Anyway, I am Glenda Wolin with the League of Women Voters. I'm here to show you our Vote 411 online voters guide, and I can walk you through it and show you what it's all about. And I can just call it up. I suppose I can share my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Good. Okay, let me get it up here and I will then share it. I don't have it ready yet because things got a little messed up. Let's see. Here, hold on, be patient with me here. Okay.
Is it under your League of Women Voters website or under the 411 website?
It's 411.org. Let me share my screen here, and this, oops.
Did she disappear? I'm back. Sorry, I hit a button and didn't realize I was there. Okay, now, okay, I will just start with my blank screen here. I'm going to share here. Okay, share. Okay, that's where I went astray before. Okay, here we go. It's a separate website. It's owned by the League of Women Voters, but we it's on a separate website. It's vote411.org. And you click on that, you come up with this screen, and where it says personalized voting information, you just type in your address, and they don't save anything. This is just to determine what candidates or what races they want to bring up, because it only gives you the races that will be on your ballot when you go to vote. So I'm going to put the league's address here. Oops. And you can do this for any place in the country, actually, and whatever address you put in, it'll bring up the ballots that that are in that location. And submit.
This is screen reader friendly. It's really good. Tells you information like, you know, what the next election is. This your polling place really doesn't apply in Bexar County because we can vote anywhere. So it doesn't really matter. It gives you some information like here we have upcoming debates and forums, and we've got forums coming up in most of the city council districts. And the next one we have is for, wait a minute, this isn't right. It's not District 6, it's District 1. I'm gonna have to get that changed. Anyway, but the main thing you want, you know, is your ballot. So you hit Explore Now. And let's see, make this a little bit bigger. Your vote 411 voter guide. And these are the races. We don't have very many of them in this election. Sometimes they're really long, but we just got the mayor, city council district that is where you are. So this one is District 1. And then we've got the 2 ballot propositions. So click on the first one, San Antonio mayor. It has all the candidates that are on the ballot. The ones without a photograph are either they didn't submit a photograph or they didn't submit their questionnaires. So you can only click on 2 at a time to look at. So you click on one and then everybody else says compare. So you want to compare one other. So you click on compare with that. And down below you get 2 side by side. And they've got little biographical information and contact information first. And then there's 6 or 7 questions for each of them. We ask each candidate a set of questions. And they're the same questions for all of the candidates. And they answer them like, what would be your 3 top priorities as mayor? And what specific actions would you take toward those priorities? And so we give their answers. And then the next question, and it goes on. I think there's 7 questions for the mayor. And then if there were only 2 candidates, you could go ahead right then and there. And if you want to do this, pick your choice. You can mark whichever one you want. Or since there's a lot of candidates, you probably don't want to do that yet. You want to pick 2 more. I mean, pick these 2. No. Gets a little tricky trying to figure out who you want to get. One of them won't go away. No, anyway, I haven't gotten very good at this. Let's just try. I think what you have to do is, okay, now we've got 1 and 2. Okay, so then you get another 2 and you look at their answers and you go through the whole thing. And once you find one you like, if you want, you can go ahead and click on it. And that marks it as one you want. And then you go to, so you're finished with that, you go to your next race. Wait a minute. Oh, you've got your city council district 1. So you've got the candidates there. Now in this case, she filed her answers, but she just didn't submit a picture. So that's why hers is blank. But anyway, she's there and you can compare her to another candidate. And once you get through doing all that, all the candidates, you decide which one you like. You can go back and they're all right here. You can go back and pick 1, another 2, and go through and decide, why is this? It's just not wanting enough. Yeah, spread it out. Anyway, you make it bigger and pick the one you want. And then we've got the propositions here, which is, these are really good explanations because sometimes these things are worded in crazy ways and they don't, you don't know any more after reading the proposition than before you did. So it's got the wording of the proposition, and then it's got some background and explanation of what for means and what against means, because sometimes you have no idea what they mean, because if a proposition is about going against something, then when you vote for, Are you voting for to go against something, or are you voting for to be for something, which would mean voting against it? So it gets very confusing, and this explains very well what a for vote is. A for vote is always for the proposition, no matter what the proposition says, and an against is to vote against the proposition, but it gets so confusing. So this is explaining exactly what a for and against means, and then there's some information about, you know, what is good about the proposition, or, you know, what the proposition would do that's favorable, and arguments about what is not favorable about it. So you can see both sides of the issue. And so then you can vote yes or vote no. And so then, oops, the second one is the same thing. It's the second proposition. You read through it all, get the background and the explanation and the pros and cons, and make your choice. And then when you're all through, it gives you, it's just like a ballot. You go through and review your decisions. In this case, there's so few things. You've got, you know, you probably don't need a cheat sheet when you go to the polls, but if you want to, you can, it says here, finish. You can either put your phone number or your email address in, and you'll get either, if you put your phone number in, you'll get a text. If you put your email address in, you'll get an email that just lists the races and who you chose, and you can print that out and take it with you to the polls, which is really good when you get a long ballot, because, you know, there's so many and so many of the so many candidates, it's hard to remember what you picked on all of those races. But it's, you know, so it's a really handy thing to have. And they, like I said before, they don't store any of this information. That's strictly for you to, you know, to be able to get that list. And they don't keep it, they don't sell it, they don't rent it, they don't do anything with it. So that's what Vote 411 is. It's, people really like it when they start using it, because it has so many questions and background that we just can't put in the print voter's guide. Because the print voter's guide costs a lot of money, and the more we put in there, the more it costs us. And when you have this many candidates, you would have to print out a big thick book. We had 80, I think at the end it was 78 candidates. We had a couple of people drop out, and that would, you know, to print out 6 questions for each of those candidates, it would be huge. You just wouldn't be able to do it. So this is much more comprehensive, and it's really good. The voter's guide, the print one, which is coming, it's coming out next week, is it's good. I mean, a lot of people just like to have that paper in front of them and they can write on it and circle things and everything. And it is really good. It has 3 questions instead of 6 for each candidate. It's the same questions. The material is the same. And it doesn't weed out the races that you aren't going to be voting on. But in a case like this, you know what your district is, and you know the mayor is got 55 seconds left. We know what everybody votes for mayor, so you just have, and it's all broken down by the district. So you look at your district and the mayor's race and the 2 candidates, the 2 propositions, and you're done. It also has a lot of voting information in it. That's good. It's got the early voting sites. It's got just information on what happens when you go to vote. If you're not familiar with the voting machines or what the procedure is, it's got a lot of information like that in there. They're available in public libraries, or will be next week, end of next week. So both of those are really useful, and they're both free. So be sure to get
a meeting host and do some of the announcements while I set up the breakout rooms.
Yes, well, it might take me a minute.